Hello, dear participants. Welcome to the UNESCO Institute for African Culture and International Understanding, Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Ogun State. I am Adekunle Oladejo, and my co-facilitator is Dr. Deborah Agbanimu, who will be guiding you through this course from November 7 to 18, 2023. The course is titled Promoting Cultural Diversity and Expressions in STEM Classroom, the Role of Emerging Digital Technologies. I will be handling the first part of the course, which is on cultural diversity awareness in STEM classroom, while Dr. Deborah Agbanimu will be handling the other part of the course, which borders around using emerging technologies to promote and protect cultural diversity and expressions in our classroom. The purpose of the institute is to support the implementation of the 2005 convention. This convention is about promoting and protecting the diversity of cultural expressions. At the end of this lesson, participants should be able to explain cultural diversity in the context of STEM, discuss at least 5 benefits of cultural diversity in STEM classroom, and identify biases, stereotypes, and other obstacles to promoting cultural diversity in STEM classroom. And of course, we'll get number 4 and 5 as you can see on the screen. Then is cultural diversity in the context of STEM. In a typical science classroom, it is possible that it's most likely that students in our classroom will not come from a single cultural background. We could have students from at least 3, 4, 5 cultural backgrounds in our classroom. Respecting and acknowledging these students' worldview about what makes science or how science becomes meaningful to them, it's an important aspect of cultural diversity in STEM classroom. As teachers, we need to be able to connect what we teach our students to their cultural backgrounds, to their worldview of science, worldview of technology, worldview of mathematics. You will agree with me that there is no culture that is devoid of the knowledge of science. So when we recognize that in our classroom, we have students from, for example, the Igbo culture, the Yoruba culture, and the Hausa culture, designing a lesson that respects the view of these students makes our class a class that welcomes cultural diversity, and will by that be promoting cultural diversity in STEM learning. When we promote cultural diversity in our classrooms, what advantage would we be serving ourselves and our learners? Among others is that we will be promoting our students' sense of tolerance. Student A now knows that science is not only about how he or she sees it, it's also about how student C or student E sees it, and none is wrong. We'll be promoting equity in science learning. We'll be promoting science or STEM literacy beyond memorization, beyond basic literacy of what the textbook spells. We will also be protecting cultural diversity. We will also be ensuring that our learners get the best or learn science more meaningfully, because they cannot connect what they have learned to their daily lives, what they have learned to what happens in the community. However, as beautiful as the benefits of promoting cultural diversity sounds, there are challenges, there are obstacles that affect the realization of this in our classroom. Among others is the teacher's poor knowledge of scientific and technological endeavors of other culture. It's also about the lack of pedagogical skill of how to incorporate cultural diversity or culture, indigenous knowledge and practices into our lessons. It's also about our curriculum. The curriculum is not culturally sensitive, and likewise most of the common textbooks that we use in our classrooms. These are the major challenges that teachers face or that teachers face in incorporating culture or indigenous knowledge and respecting the diversity of the cultural context of their classroom. How then can we overcome these challenges? To overcome the challenges of incorporating culture or respecting cultural diversity in our classrooms, we need to embrace the strategies for promoting the diversity of cultural expressions in our classroom. What are these strategies? As you can see on the screen, I have itemized 8 of these strategies for us. There are more. However, for the purpose of this lesson, I'll be focusing on the use of culturally relevant and contextually responsive teaching approach. While looking at culturally relevant teaching approach, we'll be focusing on the cultural techno contextual approach, CTCA. As I said earlier, CTCA is a culturally relevant teaching approach. It was invented by Peter A. Okebukola and was launched in 2015. Since then, it has been tried out in several classrooms across Nigeria and other parts of Africa. This approach was designed to break down the barriers to meaningful learning of STEM in Africa. In implementing CTCA, there are 5 steps to follow. However, I need to let you know that CTCA can be implemented in 3 modes: in the classroom for regular teaching, in the laboratory for practical activities, and of course on the field, like field trips. For each of the modes, there are 5 steps. The step 1 is about pre-lesson assignment. The step 2 focuses on student group work and presentation, while step 3 focuses on teachers' use of humor and of course examples that explains the concept of the teaching but within the surrounding of the students. By step 4, the teacher repeats or reemphasizes the cultural knowledge or indigenous examples that have been used in teaching that concepts, and the last step focuses on the use of social media platforms like WhatsApp or Telegram to send students summary of the lesson at the end of each lesson. For lesson 1, it is usually sent by the teacher, and after the first lesson, it's expected that the group leaders that you must have appointed in step 2 can then take on the responsibility of sending the summary of the lessons to his or her colleagues in the classroom. This is the summary of how to implement CTCA. If you look at the bottom of this slide, you'll see a link there where you can access the full textual material for implementing the cultural techno contextual approach. And of course, as we move on in this course, we'll share with you the full material, the full CTCA book, where you can read and digest the implementation process of the cultural techno contextual approach. In implementing CTCA, we'll be looking at case studies in chemistry and mathematics. Here is an example of cultural reference that have been used to explain electrochemistry in one of our studies. This is Ayolokpon, where the teacher used Ayolokpon or the regular rotative tennis to explain electric potential, and the process of making palm oil was also used to explain electrolysis. When we teach this way, we are bringing culture into the classroom. We are bringing culture into STEM learning, and by that we'll be promoting cultural diversity, because this, for example, this Ayolokpon it's not only within Yoruba culture, it also exists in Igbo culture, and there could be slight variations, and that is the diversity that we ought to let our students see and make them also see the similarities in how this connects to the regular science that we teach. This is the regular aquarium, the iron pots that we make. This was also used to explain electroplating in chemistry. In one of our studies, we also looked at the use of, we looked at set theories, and all of these concepts that you see here was used to explain sets. Let me pick an example. Look at the yam. If you look at here, you see yam. Put the hips of yam. What we see regularly in our market is that we see yams hip up like this in the market. So a set of this could be for like, maybe these are sets of 500 naira yam. These ones are like 1,500 naira. These ones are 112. When you add them that way, these are each of the yams there represents an element. But you will find out that in a set of 1,000 naira yam, you could also see one that will look almost similar to that of the weight of the ones that are being rated as 1,200. So the teacher can use this kind of example to explain intersection in set theory. In the studies that have been screen captured on this slide, for example, this study focused on nuclear chemistry, and CCA was used to teach nuclear chemistry, where students' cultural knowledge, indigenous knowledge, cultural practices were explored in teaching nuclear chemistry. The second course here, the second screenshot here represents that which I showed us earlier on electrochemistry. And this study here, led by Dr. Ademola, was also focused on electrochemistry. Here is an example of study that we have conducted using CCA to teach physics. I remember the topic here was refractive indices, and of course, yeah, this mathematics publication too was that example that I showed us earlier using set theory. All of this all of these publications will be made available for you. You can read and see how CCA was implemented there, and then model a similar thing in your own classroom. You will recall earlier I said we'll be sharing with you the main that's link that I showed to you earlier in one of the slides. This is CCA book that will be sharing with you. In this book, you'll see examples of studies that we have conducted where CCA has been used in the classroom, and you see how we have tried our best to promote and protect cultural diversity and expression in teaching various STEM concepts: mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and of course ICT. This output, this production shows the outputs of CDCA studies, and we have over 100 of them. And if I can also share this particular material with you, if you remind me in the course uh, of this course. What is new about CDCA? Today, we now have a mobile app for CDCA, and the beautiful thing about this app is that it allows for teachers to contribute. So if you're willing to contribute any of the indigenous knowledge or cultural practices in any of the STEM topics that you want to teach or you're teaching to your students, please let us know. We'll give you a space in this app where you'll be referenced, and then your knowledge of how to teach that concept using cultural practice or indigenous knowledge will be made available for others to benefit from. CCA is now also being implemented online fully, and of course in blended mode. And we're now implementing CCA for early school years, that is the primary school levels from primary 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As I speak with you, there's a particular master student that is working on early primary school mathematics using CCA. In addition, is that we're now looking towards CCA version 2.0. What is likely to be the difference between 2.0 and 1.0? Let me give you an hint. In 1.0, in step 1, you will recall that I said to you that it focuses on indigenous, giving students pre-lesson assignments. That pre-lesson assignment is that the teacher tells the students, go home, ask your parents about the indigenous knowledge or cultural practices that explains a particular concept, let's say genetics. So the assignment that the pre-lesson assignment that the teacher will issue to the students will be two things. One, they should go home and ask their parents about indigenous knowledge or cultural practices that explains genetics. Not only that, the students will also be directed to go to the YouTube and watch lesson videos on genetics. So when they come back, that is step 2. They will now come to share that they found out from their parents and from the YouTube with their colleagues. That is in step 2. But I'm focusing on step 1 now. That's sending the students out or telling them to go home and meet their parents. We found out that most times for the first lesson and partially for the second lesson, students don't come back with detailed information. To bridge that gap is why we're bringing in the CTCA version 2.0, where we are now building a library of indigenous knowledge and cultural practices that explains virtually all the major difficult concepts in biology, physics, chemistry, and ICT. And that was why I also invited your own interest earlier in the previous slides, that you can contribute to the CTC app. So when you give us an explanation that is culturally inclined, it explains any indigenous knowledge or that explains any STEM concepts, would put it into the library and other students can make benefit of it. We have come to the end of today's lesson. However, as a take home, we'll be developing a culturally relevant or a culturally responsive lesson plan on any topic of our choice, depending on our subjects. Let me give you what's quote unquote now called Expo. To do this, once we share with you the CTCA book, you will see models of lesson notes there. Just pick any one of it and model your own assignments to it. Just pick any topic in your area. You see examples of lesson plan that have been developed using CTCA. Just model it and develop your own. And this will be the end of course project. So there's no rush. You're not submitting it now. We'll be submitting it at the end of this course. What have we learned so far? In this lesson, we've been able to explore what makes cultural diversity in the context of STEM. What are the benefits of cultural diversity in STEM classroom? What challenges do teachers face in implementing or in promoting cultural diversity in their classroom? Of course, what are the challenges? What are the strategies that we can use to overcome these challenges? And we'll focus more on the use of culturally relevant pedagogy, where we explore how to use CTCA. And like I said to us, we can go into the CTCA book or view or look at, if you go to the class site, you'll see other video resources that we have shared with you where CTCA implementation have been explained in full details. Then of course we have seen case studies of the use of CTCA in mathematics, in physics, and in chemistry. This is the end of Solomon, like we used to say in primary school. Thank you very much for your attention. For further details or questions, please don't fail to contact me using this email address. Thank you and God bless.